Hi, I'm Merci, mentor. Thank you for joining me. I'm a theologian, a teacher, a thinker, and a trainer. That's why you're here. I wanted to share today about the nature and the character of God, and that God is not angry. He's not an angry, wrathful, judgmental God that you or I read in the Old Testament and some of it in the New Testament. You see, the Bible was written in a context of the ancient Near East. And we have to go all the way back to that time frame to actually extract, or like what I say is to excavate, the actual context in which the Bible was written in. And when we do this, we can realize that really we are not the author. We are not the audience. We are not the recipients of the biblical text, the 66 books of the canonized Bible for the Western world. In fact, what we're recognizing since the time of archaeology and since the time of the 1850s and rolling into the 1950s, but really in the context of the year 2000, and we're in 2025 right now. So it's very new that we're actually getting information and context of what the Bible is referring to. And that is going all the way back to the time frame of Mesopotamia, the beginning of that civilization. In fact, the Bible is claiming that Adam is the father of that civilization. Once you understand that context and that story of the first Adam ended with the last Adam, Jesus, then we can start to talk about, okay, what does the Bible say about this wrathful, angry type of God? And it has nothing to do with us today. So what I wanted to show you is that the Bible is actually written in a format, in a style of the literature that was available at the time of its writing, which was, depending on what scholars you read, the Bible claims that the Torah was written by Moses. Moses is living in the time of the 1440 BCE time frame. And in this time frame, what you have is this whole Hittite culture. And in the cuneiform tablets, what we see is a whole narrative of how the ancient Near East thrived and survived in a context of making suzerain vassal treaties. And I have a link there on my video where you can click onto, and I give a lot more information with this with a friend of mine, and you can watch that video. It gives you more context, okay? But for this video, I wanted to let you know that what you're reading in the Bible is actually a suzerain vassal treaty that God is making an agreement with the people of, or the nation of Israel. It's a two-party system, and it was very conditional. And within that context, you have a suzerain, and in this case, it is God, Yahweh. He is giving an agreement stipulation, terms of agreement, where if they obey, then they are in a blessed position. If they disobey, they're in a cursed position. And it's very conditional. So let me read to you here in Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is why when you read the Bible, you're thinking that God is very wrathful, angry, because you're reading it in the context of a suzerain vassal treaty. Now, when you take it out of that context and then you want to say that's how he feels about me, you're misapplying and misinterpreting what the Bible is saying. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. It says this is where Moses is there, and he is the priest. He is an intermediary between the nation of Israel and God. And it says here, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. And meaning all the nations on the land or the area that they were living in. All these blessings will come upon you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land, and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your kneading trough and will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. And the rest of the verses, it talks about all the amazing blessings that God's going to give to the nation of Israel, because it's a conditional terms of agreement that they made. This is called the covenant system. The whole Bible is a covenant system. So then when you go into verse 15, it gives you all the terms of agreement of when, if they actually disobey, what will happen to them. And it says, however, if you do not obey the Lord your God and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. You will be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Your basket and your kneading trough will be cursed. It's a complete opposite of what we just read. The fruit of your womb will be cursed, and the crops of your land, and the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. You will be cursed when you come in, and cursed when you go out. And it continues on with all of the curses of disobedience, all the way up to verse 68. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And God is laying down the terms of agreement that Israel and he made together. So it's in this context right here that we, as Christians, as believers, go into the biblical text and actually read it for what it is saying. So fast forward to the time of the First Great Awakening, when Jonathan Edwards writes his sermon and speaks his sermon about, sinners in the hands of the angry God. And what did he do? He misappropriated the actual readings of the Bible. He misappropriated it to the context of his day and his time, of what he thought the Bible was saying. This happens all the time. And he did the best that he could, but I'm sorry, he laid down a very, very bad foundation of who and the character of God, and that he didn't know the context of the Bible. That is an ancient Near Eastern text. He didn't know the context that this is being written between the nation of Israel and God only. He didn't understand the context of what a covenantal system is. It's a national treaty. It's not an individual treaty. And then what did he do? He misapplied it and just applied it all to himself. Because in that time, in the 1700s, and even before, and even after, and even now, people continue to misappropriate the verses and the scriptures because they don't know the foundation of the Bible, and that is the Bible is set in the mind, the worldview and the mindset of Mesopotamia, where everything began. The civilization of Mesopotamia began, not the civilization of all humanity, right? And so this is the context. So anytime you hear a sermon or someone telling you that God is mad at you, God is angry at you because you weren't good enough, because you didn't do enough, because you're not good, you're bad. All of this kind of thinking and mindset that has been established in the mindset of Christianity, I have to say that it is all incomplete and misappropriated, misinterpreted, and totally misapplied. God is not mad at you. He never was. God is not an angry God. And God is not this judger and is just judging the whole world and judging this and judging that. That is not who God is. In fact, I want to emphasize here that the Bible in Psalms 145 verse 8, it says that God is actually very loving, compassionate, gracious, and that he's slow to anger. He is slow to anger. If you actually understand that the Bible is representing the relationship between Yahweh, God, and Israel, and what happened between them two for about, 4,000 years, let's say 5,000 years, I want to say that I can build a case where God was not angry and not wrathful, and how merciful he was to deal with a nation of Israel that was constantly apostate, failing, and whoring after other gods. If anything, it's the complete opposite. If you see it in the proper context of the Bible, because the Bible is an ancient Near Eastern text, and we have to go there to extract the original message for the original audience and for the original authors. And that's where I come in to help you understand God is not angry at you. God was never mad at you. And God fully accepts you if you want a relationship with him.